Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button, pause the video, and hit the subscribe button below. It's been a minute, long time no chat. So sorry. So sorry. But I'm back. I told myself that I would finish this year strong because I was on Instagram last week and I saw an influencer post this long Monday motivation and saying how basically when God gives you a vision, we're the only people that can see it through. And so we have to stay faithful to the vision that God gave us, and we have to stay consistent, really was the theme. We can't give up on us, no matter how hard it is, no matter how many late nights or whatever, we have to continue going. And we're at the end of the year. 2020 has been kind of all over the place. It's been kind of chaotic. It's definitely been the hardest year for me personally, and so I can only imagine what this year has been like for anybody else. And so I know we're kind of I think there's 14 days left until 2021, and so I'm sure there's some people that are like, 2021 me now, please, 2020, I'm done with it, if we can just fast forward. But I'm just here to share a little bit of encouragement, because even though we are in Q4, we are almost to the finish line, you guys. I just want to say, don't give up. I know that that's something that God has been telling me, personally, to not give up. There's still plenty of time for him to do whatever he would like to do before this year ends. So we kind of have to just stay faithful and be expectant. Okay, I don't know what my hair is doing, y'all. I had twist in, I took it out, and this was the product of the twist out. This was the product of it. So here we are. I have been very consistent in trying natural hairstyles. The twist outs have been my friend this year, okay? They've been my friend. Because I twist it up and then I'm done. I ain't gotta do nothing. With it. Here's the thing. Life will come and it will try and knock you down, but it's up to you if you decide to stay down or if you're gonna get back up again and dust your shoulders off. I think Aaliyah sings that. If at first you don't succeed, hey, pick yourself up and try again. Dust yourself off and try again. Y'all know where I'm going with this, okay? You know what I mean. But it's up to us. It's up to us when we get knocked down if we're going to stay down and have a pity party and remain discouraged, or if we're going to get up and know that just because we don't succeed the first time doesn't mean that we can't try again. Failure happens in life, but we can't give up because it just makes us stronger. And so I feel like 2020 has kind of knocked a lot of us down, and it's been up to us if we're going to get up and keep going or if we're just going to stay down. We are almost to 2021, people, so just keep pushing. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your vision. Don't give up on the things that God has placed inside of your heart. Don't give up on the things that you're believing for, because when God gives us a vision, he gave that vision to us, and so we have to work towards that. We owe it to ourselves to complete what it is that he's placed in our heart to do, and he rejoices when he sees the work begin, no matter how small it is, with whatever step he's telling you to take in regards to whatever he has spoken to you, he's placed on your heart to do, whatever the case may be. We owe it to ourselves to complete what we said we would do, and we owe it to God to be obedient. You feel me? As I'm talking to y'all, I'm talking to me too, okay? Because there are some things that God has told me to do, and I'm just I've started them, right? But then there's a part of me that just doesn't want to do it. I don't want to finish, right? And so it's getting to the bottom of why. What is it? Is it the success that might come from being obedient to what God is calling you to do? What is it that I'm afraid of, or what is it that you're afraid of that's holding you back from completing the things that God has placed on your heart? He's not going to give you something that's too big for you, and whatever he's calling you to, he's already equipped you for. Something that Transformation Church says is all you have is all you need. So start with what's in your hand to accomplish what it is that God has told you to start. Okay, so my theme for this year was discipline and consistency, because I know that I knew that when this year started, that if I could get those two things down, everything that I want, that I dream of, that I desire on the other side of that. Like, if I can remain disciplined, if I can remain consistent, and I can just keep going, even when it's hard, even when I don't want to, even when I'm super tired, even when I feel like I just don't have it in me anymore, like if I can just keep going, if I can just keep pushing, then that's when that resilience is built. And no matter how hard something might come and like knock me down, I'm just like, I'm gonna do it anyways. Like, I'm gonna keep going anyways. Yes, that hurt, but I'm gonna get up and try again, you know? Okay, I also want to talk about setting goals, because I know that when we set goals, it is so easy to be hard on ourselves when we don't meet the goals in the time frame that we have set out for ourselves, right? So like, I know for me personally, I gave myself a year deadline to do something that God told me to do. And a part of me realized, I was like, I don't think this is going to be done in a year, right? And a part of me was like, kind of beating myself up about it, because it's like, well, Lexi, you didn't make the goal that you said that you were going to do, right? But at the same time, I think that it's important that we don't put unnecessary pressures on ourselves. When God tells us to do something, we just need to take it one day at a time, one step at a time, and getting things done. And whenever He tells us to stop, whenever He says that it needs to be finished, whenever He tells us, when He gives us a deadline, when He sets it, then that's when we say, oh, I'm done. I think I'm finished. But also allowing yourself grace when you don't get things done when you thought that you would have or you wanted to. Like, for me personally, my friends are always telling me to be nicer to myself and to not be so hard on myself, and to get rid of all the invisible clocks that I have made up in my mind and I have made up in my head that I'm holding myself to, that's just adding unnecessary pressure to my life. Because for what? Like, stressing out for what? Because I set a deadline or I set a goal and it didn't come to pass in my time frame, but what if the time frame I set for myself wasn't the time frame that God set for me? You feel me? Like, we have to allow ourselves room to grow and allow ourselves grace, a grace period. Because when God wants something, He gonna let you know. And when it's supposed to be done, I trust and believe that He gonna let me know. But at the same time, I think it's just a matter of being diligent in the time that we do have, spending our time wisely and being productive. So one thing that I feel like God has continued to remind me in this season is to keep my gaze on Him. You know, we choose what we focus on. We can choose to worry or we can worship. And I was reading in my devotional, one of my devotionals, actually right here. Okay. I was reading in The Purpose-Driven Life. Can y'all see this? Okay. By Rick Warren. It's actually really, really great. It's supposed to be like 40 days, but I think there's 42 days in here. And so I was reading, and it says, when God is at the center, you worship. When He's not, you worry. Worry is the warning light that God has been shoved to the sideline. So when we are worried about everything that's going on around us, when we're worried about everything that's going wrong in our lives, when we're worried about the things that we feel like we're missing out on, or the things that we don't have, then God is not at the center where He needs to be. Because if He's at the center, then we know, like, oh, He's got it. I'm going to have that when it's time for me to have it. I'm going to get to this point when I'm supposed to get there. I'm going to have this job, or I'm going to have whatever it is, like, that God told you that was yours, your promise, your job, a relationship, whatever the case may be. Like, when it's time for you to have it, you're going to have it. But if you're worried about the things that you don't have, or the things that you feel like you're missing out on, or the lack of resources, or the finances, or whatever the case may be, we not trusting, baby. Then we not trusting God like we supposed to be. And trust is, I think I heard someone say, like, trust is God's love language. And I know that it can be hard to trust God at times, when, especially if, like, you've dealt with mistrust with people. But we have to remember to not put personal characteristics of other people on God, because He's not like them, and His character is totally different. And just like He clothes the lilies in the field and He feeds the birds in the air, He cares about us too. So the things that we need will show up when it's time for us, when we actually need them. Like, if we don't have them right now, then we don't need it. He knows what we need, and so He graces us with the things that we need when we need them. And so worrying about the things that we don't have, for what? We don't have it, we don't need it. When it's time for us to have it, it'll show up. Period, boo. Okay, So, Don't Give Up is another book that I have read this year. Y'all see it? It's by Kyle Idleman, and I got this at Hobby Lobby. My friend Michaela recommended it to me. Hey girl. And it was amazing. It talks about Hebrews 11, like that whole chapter, and like all of the people, like the Hall of Faithers, okay? The Faith Hall of Fame. This book also points out how, like, whenever we are doing the things that God has called us to do, whenever we're going in the direction that He wants us to go, we're going to be met with opposition, but we can't allow the opposition to allow us to stop. We have to keep going, we have to keep pushing, we have to persevere, and knowing that the things that come against us are only making us stronger, and in us not giving up, we're being matured, and our faith is growing. You feel me? Okay, so I think the reason that it's so easy for us to give up or want to give up is because we're in the waiting. You feel me? Like, if you're believing for a job to come to pass, you're waiting on a word or a promise that God has given you, and you haven't seen it come into fruition yet, you feel like you're lacking resources or finances or whatever the case may be. It's in the waiting where we're like, there's no reason in believing for this because my life still looks the same, right? So I remember graduating from school in 2018, and one of my LSs had challenged me. We had both challenged each other really to making 6 months goals and holding each other accountable. And so a part of my 6 months goals were to get new equipment, right? I wanted a laptop, I needed a camera, and all of the the little techie stuff so I could really take my journalism stuff kind of serious, you feel me? And I remember her saying, like, the bigger stuff might take you a little longer to get, so just like be patient with yourself. So those were 6 months goals, right? A camera, a laptop, like a tripod, a microphone, like all the things. I didn't see those things until 2 years later. So like, I know it's easy for us to put goals on ourselves on when we want to accomplish something and get something done, but our goals might not be the same goals. Okay, my hair. Our goals might not be the same goals that Christ has for us. Our time frames might not be the same time frames that Christ has for us. Like, I remember for 2 years I've had to use my cell phones, because this is like, what, cell phone number 2, I think, since I've started. So I've had to do everything on my cell phone when it came to creating YouTube videos and like all the things. Like, everything was being done from my cell phone. And I would be like, God, like, you know what I need. Like, you know I need a laptop. You know I need a camera. You know I need all the things, right? I also think that God wants to see how we steward over the little things. Like, I had to be faithful with just my cell phone. And I had to be faithful and steward well over that and be consistent in doing what I said that I was going to do. And when He saw, oh, she's taking care of that, I can send her a little bit of an increase. So when He sent me the monies and He allowed people to sow into my life here and there, I would save it and I would put it back. And I was able to go and get the things that I needed. But it's just a matter of using what's in your hand while you have it until God sends your increase. And then when He sends your increase, then you can do a little bit more. So shout out to my videos. Hopefully they get a little bit better now that I have better stuff to work with. This is my first video I'm shooting from my camera. My real camera, not my cell phone, y'all. Hey! We're gonna pray for this audio though, because my microphone does not have batteries yet. Yeah. I feel like it is when we are at our wits' end, when we've gotten to the end of ourselves and we're just like, I'm done. Okay, there's nothing else I can do. I've believed, I've trusted God, and I don't know, I guess He's not going to move on this because I haven't seen anything, right? When we get to that point of frustration, when we get to that point of like throwing the towel in, that is when God comes in. And there's a song, He's like, He came and He did it again. I think it's James Fortune that says that. But I feel like that's when God steps in and He's like, hey, remember this? And He like gives it to us. So for me personally, I had applied for an opportunity, right, in like September. And I was like, okay, God. Actually, I applied for a few. And I was like, all right, God, I only want to hear back from the one that's for me, right? I only heard back from one. So I was like, bet, this is it. September comes, September goes. October comes, October goes. And I didn't hear anything back in October. After they said, like, they were like, if you're fit for the position or whatever, then you'll know, like, by the end of this week. A week in October. I didn't hear nothing back. So I was like, okay, guess I didn't get it. God, don't know why you did all that, because I said I don't want to hear back from people that are for me, and you let me hear back from this one, and like blah blah blah, like all the things, and nothing. Despite what I felt like wasn't happening, right? I was like, okay, you know what? It's time that I actually start getting up and working for myself, like getting up and tending to the things that I need to do, like creating content, planning things out for 2021, and just doing those things. So me and my friends set up work days to where we would meet with each other, and I was like, I'm gonna come to your house like I'm going to work from 9 to 5. So I can get back into the habit. So whenever it's time for me to start working again, then I'm in the routine of getting up, putting on clothes, working. We did that for like a week and a half or two, and I had applied for another opportunity because I never heard back from the last one, right? And so I was like, well, okay, God, I don't know what you're doing, because I thought this was it, and now nothing, right? Well, one of my friends had texted me in November, right? This was in September. So September to November, this is like 2 months, y'all. November, one of my friends texted me and was like, hey, did you ever hear anything back? And I was like, no, still searching for job opportunities, trying to figure stuff out or whatever. And she was like, I'll keep you in my prayers. She had sent me a podcast to listen to after we like had this long conversation, just to catching up and whatnot. Y'all, I kid you not. The next morning, I checked my email, and I had an email talking about if you're still interested in this position, let me know when you're free to talk. And I said, wait a minute. My sis just texted me last night asking me if what? I was like, huh? I was so shook, y'all. I was literally so shook, because I had literally gotten to the point where I was like, okay, well, I guess this is not it. I thought this was it because this is what God said, but what he said didn't match what I was seeing. So I was like, well, so much for that, right? But it was when I was ready to give up, when I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll try and find something else, that he stepped in and boom. And I was just like so like shook. But I say all of that to say, like, whenever God tells us something and it doesn't look like what he has said, then we're so easy to just be like, okay, well, I guess this isn't it anymore, right? But he steps in at the last minute. I feel like it'd be the last minute on our watch. On his watch, he'd probably like, nope, right on time. He steps in to let us know, like, it was him. It was only him. It's always gonna be him that makes things happen and come to pass on our behalf. But I say all that to say to not give up. You never know what might be around the corner. I think it was in Jingle Jangle, and the This Day song is really about, y'all. If you haven't heard it, go listen to This Day by Usher and Kiana Lede, because they did what they had to do on that song, and the lyrics are bomb. But it was saying, like, at the moment that you stop, like, whenever you stop running and you quit, like, that could be the moment that you win if you just keep going. So for me personally, I feel like God saw that I started preparing myself for what I was believing him for. I was believing for a job opportunity, so I started preparing myself for a job opportunity. Like, I started to get up as if I had to go to work from 9 to 5. And I started to prepare myself for what it was that I was believing him for. And whenever he saw that I was preparing myself, he made room. And I think that that's something that we have to do too. Like, we can't give up on the things that He's placed in our heart to believe for. We have to continue to prepare in the waiting. When I was at church on Sunday, one of the things that stuck out to me that the pastor said was God's promises are worth waiting for. And we can't get upset in the waiting. We just have to trust His timing and knowing that He's going to give it to us when He sees fit. Like, God may have something for us, but until we're ready for it, He's not going to present it to us until it's time. We have to remain diligent. We have to remain faithful, and we can't give up on what it is that we are believing for. We just have to continue to put one foot in front of the other. Time and trust. He's going to give us our gifts, our promises. We're going to see the things that He has said and the things that we are believing for in His timing and not ours. So we have to remind ourselves to stay faithful. Like, I had to stay faithful with my cell phone when this was all that I had when it came to creating content. I had to stay persistent when it came to getting up. I didn't have a job. I wasn't working, but I started getting up like I was working, and I had work. And I feel like whenever I started to prepare myself, then God was like, all right, I think you might be ready for this. And God knows that if He gives us something at the wrong time, then it can ruin us. And He doesn't want that. He wants us to steward well over all the things that He gives us and all the things that He blesses us with. So He will wait until we are fully matured and fully ready to present us with the things that we need, and the things that we desire, and the things that He has told us that are ours. And my best friend has always said, like, Lexi, your test is always going to be patience. Like, you know what God has said and what He said that He's going to do, but you have to be patient enough to wait for it. Like, you just gotta wait. You gotta ride it out, knowing that no matter what it looks like around you, no matter what life is telling you, hold on to what God said and hold on to it tightly, hold on to it firmly, and rehearse it. Remind yourself of it. Fill yourself up with music that affirms what Christ has said. Like, I have a playlist. It's called Galatians 6:9, baby. So if y'all need it, you know what? If I can figure out how to link it from my Apple Music, I'll put it in the description box. But I love making playlists for different seasons because it just reminds me of what God has said. And when I'm ready to give up, it stirs something in me to just keep going, because gospel music, majority of the time, it's scripture being sung. And so whenever you're able to to sing that, it strengthens you. And Galatians 6:9 says, do not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time you will reap a harvest of blessing if you do not give up. So we cannot give up, people. I know it is 2020. I know this year has not been the best year. I know it's like, Lexi, girl, like 2021 is around the corner. Yes, 2021 is around the corner, but whatever you set your mind out to do this year, honor that. Like, for me personally, I wanted to create 24 YouTube videos this year. If I don't make that 24 YouTube video goal, okay, cool. This year has been tough. I'm not going to beat myself up over it, but I still want to at least try and see how much I can get done. We have 14 days, 2 weeks. That's still plenty of time to get videos made, edited, and put up. But we owe it to ourselves to complete the things that we said we would, Staying faithful, being a man of our word or a woman of our word to ourselves, holding ourselves accountable for the things that we said that we set our heart and our minds out to do. Knowing that, yes, this year has been tough, but I'm going to pick myself up, I'm going to dust my shoulders off, and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to try again. I'm not going to quit. This year is not over yet. There is still a bunch of time for us to refocus, to realign, to get things in order for 2021, to really just take a step back, to take a deep breath, to pause, to reflect on this year, how much we've accomplished. Just getting up, putting on real clothes, that is an accomplishment, okay? Tending to your mental health, breaking bad habits, those are things to be proud of too. He knew that you would be on earth in this specific time, like Esther, for such a time as this. But I think that that's just something to celebrate, y'all. Like, making it through this year, like, round of applause, okay? Because we did it. From March to December, 9 months, y'all. 9. Ooh, the number of birthing. Wow. Come on, God. What promises we giving birth to? I believe that you will win. You can do all things through Christ who gives you strength, and you can do anything that you put your mind to, baby. So do not give up. Keep going, okay? I know, the year been tough. It's been real tough. You know how many tears I've cried this year? A whole bunch. But the Bible also says that the Lord keeps count of those tears. And baby, the tears of 2020, I wholeheartedly believe are watering the seeds that we planted so that we can see the harvest in 2021. Okay? Okay? Period, poo. So don't give up. Keep going. Push a little harder. This year is almost over. And when we look back on this year, we're going to realize that this is the year that we might have hated the most, but we needed the most because it has stretched us. It has grown us. It has allowed us to grow in perseverance. It has allowed us to grow in faith. It has allowed God to mature us in so many ways. So at the end of the day, don't give up. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video with all of your family and friends. This is just the beginning. It's your girl, Lexi Live. Okay, heavy on the hustle. Period. Let me just get up close so y'all can really see this, okay? Period. Shop aishanicole.com and get your merch. Period, boo. Y'all know it's getting a little chilly out here. If you're in Texas, cop your crew neck, okay, so you can be fly like me.